we can continue. This is great. Okay, so all of you are young adults, and we did the majority. We just want to catch the last guys, and then we'll pick up Apple. So I'm just gonna. Okay, gonna move this screen on. Okay, I believe that we should be at college life. You're with me. We're all have all of our blanks until college life. There. I lost. This is where we should be. Everyone on the same page? Yes. Okay. So what we want to have a look here is just finishing our young adults. How many of you enjoyed hearing about the young adult? Agree that that was something familiar to your life because of the place and the environment we are living in, even if you're not necessarily a young adult right now, right? Well, I just want to remind you, like I did last time, a lot of this research is from a secular worldview, right? Okay, so college life, what they define there is that these are young adults who are approaching their 20s, and many of them are going to be asking questions as to where is their life going? Should I be studying? What should I be doing, right? And if you're in, remember, secular, what should I be doing, right? And if you're in, remember, secular worldview, they're going to say this is a place traditionally known as specific goal setting, binge drinking, and sleep deprivation because they go out all night and party, then they come back and try to do their work and hardly sleep. Those of you who don't fall into that category, we still have the sleep deprivation because what you guys are doing, because we know it's going to influence their career decision. And many times when you're studying, you have to take the right classes and courses to go in that specific career direction. So we know it's going to impact their life dramatically within the United States. And again, I always qualify Western perspective. 2 out of 5 students go to college to drink. That's crazy. So I think we need revival on our colleges, right? And they are doing amazing. There are some amazing ministries out there. The Lord leads you to be involved in them. We also have what we said was sleep deprivation. We know that you're trying to stay awake, trying to work, trying to do schoolwork, everything all at the same time. It can be overwhelming trying to balance work and school and their social life, because right, they want to build relationship with other people their same age with their same interests. And so they're going to experience sleep deprivation. Some of you might be able to identify sleep deprivation is this. Your mind becomes listless, meaning, you know, you're thinking about something, you're trying to remember all the things you're thinking about. You can't even remember all the things you're thinking about. Okay. You tend to wonder, you're in class, but your mind's going, oh, I've got to come back to, oh, okay, I'm here. Yes, I'm really here. Okay, yes, I'm here. Any of you done that? Okay. Hunger. You don't realize you get more hungry when you're sleepless, sleep deprived. So, and also, if you're dehydrated or you haven't had enough sleep, isn't that amazing? You wonder why sometimes your hunger is increased. High sensitivity to pain. When you've slept less, anything that touches you, ouch, you don't have such a great pain tolerance because you have, out of it because you haven't slept enough. Sleep is so important. Billy Graham said 2 things. He said if he lived his life again, here's what he would do. He would sleep more and he'd pray more. Isn't that amazing? That's what he said. We don't sleep enough. When you sleep enough, you're able to be fully used by God in every capacity. And many Christians walk around sleep deprived. Right? God actually promises rest to his children. Rest is so important. You're going to have itchiness of eyes. Any of you guys ever come in here and your eyes are itchy? You just sleep deprived. Double vision or hand tremors. I've never seen this in any of my CFNI classes. It's called micro sleep. They're all here, right? All my students are here. Never. I've never seen that in simulation. It's called a micro sleep. It's like a second. You're like, I'm here. I've got to shake myself up. Those are all indicators of sleep deprivation. Most will agree in every. There's some people who are just like summer people, and then winter comes and they're all depressed. What happened to you? I don't know you anymore. It's true, really, really, psychologically and physically. And you want to see them in every season where they have a lot of resource, where they have no resource. When life's fantastic and when life is really tough. You want time to have shown you those seasons. And I mean real seasons and seasons in life, because that's who we are. You squeeze and what comes out is who you are, right? Of course we want it to be Jesus. This is real. So for young adults, time is always me. People think they have no time, gotta go hurry. You're the hurry, right? So I say time is your friend. But with this, they say they're beginning to flip your. And so we have all these things. You're constantly trying to build skill, but at the same time, you're trying to support yourself. At the same time, you're trying to show, independence, because you want to show that you have enough skill. You see how that all trying to roll together, just so that you can grow into interdependence. I still love you. I still need you. I still respect what you say, but I am able to help myself and work with myself, right? We also know that this development is going to occur through our entire lives. It's not all of a sudden you're a young adult and this is who you are. I love the concept that David didn't become David overnight. He was worshiping in the field. He was practicing with, he didn't just all of a sudden slay Goliath. He had such a confidence because of what he had done in the field, how many things that had come against him. And he knew that his weapons were great. His little stone was effective. He had mastered it. Well, that was training your children. That was preparing your teen. That was helping your transition into young adults, and they're going to fly, right? So this is like an entire lifetime. Each day we're going to learn more, we're going to teach more, and we're going to develop more. So these are the things that we need to remember for our young adult hour. There can be stressful times. They kind of generalize that this is about 18 to 25 years old. They can find their place in the world and see what their future unfolds, and yet at the same time be responsible for their adulthood. This is summing up what the students are impacting and influencing our young adults. I do want to transition to the handout I gave you. If you want to have a look, I gave you a really nice picture over there. Look at that picture for a moment. And there are going to be different age groups that they identify. Really fun picture. You can look at it. And so, remember they said that the young adult is not really an adult yet. It's becoming an adult. So that was called provisional adulthood. Can you see that? 18 to 30 years old. And then they said in the 30s, after gone through all this turbulence, you really get to the flourishing 40s because now you're in your lane. You're excelling in what you know you do well in, right? 3 means kind of peaceful, calm, wonderful. And then right on the edge, you can see it says sage 70s, uninhibited 80s, nobility of the 90s, and celebratory centennials. The one thing that I love is the uninhibited 80s. Have you ever spoken to an 80-year-old? They're uninhibited in either way. Either they are like had a wonderful life and it's amazing and they're just going to say anything and tell you they'll say it's really bad and they're just going to tell you that way too. Have you seen that? And they're uninhibited. They don't care what they say. It's really funny. I love it. And my kids love them too. They just tell you like it is. What are you doing, honey? You know, that's kind of because they're limited. Well, I've lived my life. What have I got to lose now? I don't have anything to lose. Right? And the ability of the 90s, those who reach 90, most of them are walking in noble character. And you're like, wow, I want to honor that person. I want to be like that person, right? And then those who get to 100, well, you just want to celebrate them. I'm like, incredible. Really? It's amazing. Across from us, all of his, and we look at him and he's like, he's 86. We're like, oh, my children love him. I'll just share this funny story. He's African American, right? And we never shared anything about differences in people with my son, with my children. We just love anyone, right? But he was a preschooler, and one day, all of a sudden, he realized, well, he's there. He said, Mr. Donald, that was the Donald. Mr. Donald, that was the Donald. Oh, use that, ladies, right? And I'm like, oh, today. He's not the other kid down the wall. You know, problem with my color. No, he wasn't like that. So, in this diagram, you can kind of see how they've tried to add some pictures to some of the things that they believe are happening in these ages. And I just thought it was fun. Again, I do want to tell you it's a secular worldview, but something that I love in the serene 60s, if you have a look right down there, your brain can keep growing. Can you see the little brain? Mm-hmm. You can be intentional about keeping yourself growing as an adult. You don't only learn as a child, as a teen, as a young adult going to university. We continue to develop and grow ourselves. Education. And we can keep our minds alert and growing just by, you know what, honey, I still love you. And you good. Yes. I can love you anyway. Have you seen some of those old sitcoms or whatever where they still love each other? Well, I'm done with my life. So middle adulthood is going to actually make up 50% of your entire life. For more than 50% of your life, you're going to be an adult. Wow, that's amazing, right? And so we're going to have a look at middle adult is roughly between ages 35. Am I right in front of the screen? Oh, you don't have this? What I've done with my life? Yes. The last page. Yes. Career development, I'm leaving out because I want to focus on what I think will be the most primary elements for the rest of the semester. So we're going to the older adults. I wanted to make sure from infants to the oldest. And on Monday, we're actually going to do the family life cycle. Now we're going to go through the entire thing. So career development, just for sake of time, I can put the PowerPoint. I'll put the PowerPoint so your unit is complete. Thank you. We'll do that. But everyone's on the right page. Okay. So more than 50% of your life, middle adult is anywhere from 35 to 65. Right there. This is a period that begins later for some, earlier for others. A lot of it could also depend on the age of when you had your children. Because you can have somebody has a 15-year-old. You can have a 35-year-old who has a 1-year-old. And so stages of life are just so different from the one who has a 50-year-old and the one who has a 1-year-old. Started as children's fosters, I didn't have any children. Then I had children. So it was just such a mixed up difference, right? But that will tell, kind of like shift out what your middle adult looks like, or depending on where your life stage has landed. Because you can be at age, but you can be at a different stage just because of, you can have a 40-year-old who had a child at 20 who's going to be a grandparent. You have someone who's only 65 starting to be a grandparent. Can you see it's that they are an age, but they're at a different stage. And so those things will play a different role. So there's going to be different things that's going to be associated to your aging. The 30s is what they say is your most stage of life. However, you are confronted with most issues of life. What is my job going to be? Do I have enough income? How much am I going to be? Is my marriage? I mean, so many. Am I working on my marriage at the same time I'm working to excel in my? At the same time, I'm making sure my children progress and they're healthy. And you're expected to excel in all of those areas all at one time. Think about that. Pretty intense. And so then we come to church. Why are you always late? Well, you haven't thought about this. That's been working all week, and then they oh, because so many times, response to parents is you don't discipline your child. How can I celebrate your parents? What I think all parents need is to be told they're doing a good job. Because I think we're very quick to know the areas we've not excelling, right? We think someone does what we're not doing well in. We're all very happy here. So what we need is people to identify, hey, good job. You got to church. We start with little things and then you encourage people and they want to continue to excel, right? Early can offer you what they call a time of upheaval because now we really want to know did I do the right thing in my 30s? Am I going to continue on what I did with my 30s? Am I changing? Can I settle down? Right? And then we have those who are in their responsibility. Why? Many of these kids are not in that stage of needing 100% of your attention. They most probably are. And they probably are more self. Most probably they're a little older, right? And so all that intense responsibility could, and so it's an easy stage to really work with. Many times people are stepping into the role of grandparents, which can also be a difference in a new family involvement. Many times the middle adult is this bridge between the young adult and the generations. You've got the young generation between. Many times the middle adult is also called time of life, feeling safe, settled, and secure. Unless sometimes you just follow Jesus and everything changes in half a minute, right? Mostly by this time they predict, that you should have a spouse, you should know where you're working, have a family if you wanted a family, or there or settled, secure type environment. I would say with Jesus, you know, anything, and uh, maybe slightly just diminished in their strength. Remember we said our greatest physical strength is that 18, 20, 21-year-old, that prime of life where they put you in those grueling bar exams and they send you to the army and they put you in the Olympics, right? There are, I'm not saying they're all, there are Olympians who are much older, but it's the minority, not the majority, right? And then we're always like, go watch them. It's like, whoa, it's not too interesting. You see those older, like gymnasts, and you're like, whatever it is. Um, but physically, there's slight diminishing in your physical ability. However, your experience and self-knowledge has increased. And so you're able to manage your life in a far greater way than that experience. Make decisions with ease, with expertise, with self-confidence, and that's why they say 40 to 60 is often called the command generation. Probably the CEO of the company is not a 20-year-old. Now I know there's some exceptions like our Facebook, all those, but most of the time, someone has had some experience, right? You rely on them to do that as well. And you think about that also in your ministry formation for volunteers. What the volunteers look like, how they we also know that with family, by now, their family skills have been tested, whether it was their marriage skills or their parenting skills or their juggling skills, all of those, right? Um, they've had to work through marriage. They've had to make an effort for a relationship. They've had a lot of time and responsibility. So we see how they work, kids, family, parents. We do know that there are some physical needs for the young adult and middle adult. So some of those capabilities might change, and so we see possibly vision might change. Their ability to see whether it's whatever it is, they might in that area. Hearing, maybe their hearing needs some help, right? Could be a possibility. They say taste, smell, and sensitivity to pain declines at different points. Reaction time, motor skills might be a little slower than before. Right? There might also be internal changes that are taking place. And this is looking towards nearer your 60-year-olds, right? Um, around 50 is going to skeleton might stiffen and shrink. This is funny. One of my children once asked me, wow, so that you one of us be to live to 100 because you must just life. Really concept here. They say whether it's the even impact on your body, vertebra, all these things actually over time actually begin to shrink a little, not grow a little, right? And the skin and muscle might lose elasticity, the start developing, all of these things. Also, we see that the skeleton stiffens. Sorry, we have the skeleton slowing down, the skeleton. We have our muscles and our skin changing, and we also have less blood being pumped around the body. 8% less blood for each decade after beginning adulthood. Lung capacity is decreasing. So, their ability to take also. We're also going to see menopause and climatica. Okay, and these are some dramatic internal changes, just like adolescence, there was change because of increase of hormones. Well, now there's going to be decrease of hormones, so again, it's going to have an effect on the body. And so we have menopause part of climatica, which refers to the overall complex of physical and sex and hormonal changes in middle adults. So physical changes on average, periods end between 45 to 55. Ovulation and menstrual cycles become erratic before they stop. The uterus shrinks, gradual reduction of breast size. Other symptoms could be hot sweats, headaches, dizziness, palpitations, pain in the joints. So when you look at these things, you say, Jesus, you did a miracle. Abraham and Sarah had a baby. You know what I preached one time? Because I'm like talking about the old and the new generation and what the Lord will do. I said, no, revival. Because you would think of it and the capacity of it and the strength of it. And now I want God to breathe life back. I want the restoration of life. And it can only be God. God, and that's why it's a miracle, and that's why revival breaks out. That with His word and His plan, and we see a miracle, and it becomes a testimony that will change generations and nations. That's revival. It's not a big group of people who all come together and say, "Whoa, Holy Spirit's here." Coming to agreement to bring change for the Holy Spirit to do a miracle that will impact a generation. That's revival. So after that, we have been impacted because of that, right? That's true revival. You want the more of it, don't look for a big gathering that hangs out. Look for all three who are in agreement with God. Invite you all. So we have this incredible miracle that happens, but we also see emotional changes because just like teens, just like hormones have an effect on the emotion, well, the same for the older adult who's having a decrease of have a change in their bone mass because of the decreased estrogen, and this is why many times you'll find that women are more susceptible than men to osteoporosis. You know, the bones that did not have enough calcium that are crumbling because that's all impacted by estrogen. So stay healthy for the kingdom. Got lots to do for him, right? In our men, there are also changes. Of course, because they have a decrease of hormones just the same. A decreased production of androgens and testosterone. Men might experience things such as impotence. Some men even experience loss of self rest. Some of the symptoms attributed to their physiological stress, such as job pressure. Why? I'm not as young as I was before. I wasn't as able as I was before. Is a younger guy with more college knowledge just coming to take over my job? There's a whole new thing out in the market. There's a whole lot of new degrees, and I'm not up on all the new media that they've just created. Did you feel that pressure? That breadwinner and in line and still be able to be that provider, right? Again, we said, six goal view, right? You're going to love your wife for the rest of your life. Responsibilities, possible fear of being I need a resource that God uses for my family. I need to be healthy and strong. So we saw these things. Although people might think it decreases, it's not true. You might have gradual decrease. You can keep living and growing. Right? They have been able to reach and stay alert and active. However, college weren't exposed to the way in which they can keep their brains growing. So nations where maybe that's not prized for women to study, you see the value of it. You say, I'm going to help you have a longer life just if you study. Okay, on tertiary education for those who don't get it. Cognitive development continues through middle years, especially when it's related to your work and babies and things. We have different kinds of intelligences now. Something we know that. Also then have what's called experience and expertise. Apply knowledge, apply especially if they can use what's called declarative or factual and procedural knowledge. Like I know this because I've studied this, I've seen this, and then we have procedural. I have done this. So you go to someone for advice, you find those. They've seen, they've done that. Maybe it's not what you're going to want to hear. It's going to be what they've seen, and then believe that they're filled with the Holy Spirit to give to you what you need to know. Right? Expertise often compensate for any kind of cognitive decline because that outright anything that's slowing down cognitively. And so we have what's called declarative knowledge Many times the expertise will compensate for any cognitive decline. Elements of expertise include confidence, significant knowledge, skill and procedure, rapid recognition, generalized thinking, and problem solving. For us who are younger, maybe we've just been in this circumstance and tried it once. Like this, I think is here. Someone else comes along, and because they've seen life and they've seen circumstances, they're like, "Oh, right? They do to the child." Right? I go, "Yeah," and then I'm energetic. I'm going to go tell their parents. Then you hear, not that they're wrong. All these things. And I think those are win-win teams all the time when you can really implement those things. So I pray that you enjoyed these are the people that are going to be your volunteer teams. How are you fostering or are you posturing them? How are you understanding the life stage that they're in? What can you do to support their life stage? Right? How can you be praying for them, knowing they're struggling on the career decision that you've got to make, and all you're thinking is, I need a volunteer for Sunday. It's beyond that. You need a volunteer for Sunday, but pour into them and help them find. That's what they're consumed with. What is my major looking like? Where am I going to find a job and what's it going to be? So you minister to that, and they'll be so faithful to come and help you with your need on a Sunday morning. See how we bring this all in? I understand, parents, that you're so let me facilitate all these other things so you can be the great teacher that you are. You see, we understand the stages and the ages, and we have a great ministry team, and we give the best to the children because we see how we can pull all the gifts, talents, abilities, and we understand these things, and we pray for them. And we minister pastorally to our volunteer teams, right? Awesome. Be sure to do your exam, the career one. I will post that on a PowerPoint. I'll try to put all the PowerPoints